Hampshire autumn sunshine beamed down on the parade square as 100 members of 2-1 Gibraltar Battery marched on to receive their medals. They'd just returned from between 4 and 7 months in Afghanistan, operating unmanned aerial vehicles at a high tempo. Major General Robert Whale presented the operational medals, including one to the most famous member of the battery, Captain Capt Stanning. A few weeks ago, I met up with Captain Stanning and the team from 2-1 Gibraltar Battery Royal Artillery as they began another day flying UAVs across the Afghan skies. It's 5 in the morning and another Afghan night shift is drawing to a close for Captain Capt Stanning and the Theatre UAS battery.
Good to go.
But there's still work to be done, preparing unmanned aerial surveillance vehicles for their next missions.
It's morning routine with the Theatre UAS battery, so we've got kind of green eyes lifting every hour for a couple of hours. And so yeah, the Hermes is lifting off to go off on task across Task Force Helmand.
Heather and her team operate the Hermes 450 unmanned aerial vehicle. These drones provide surveillance and reconnaissance for the Task Force Helmand headquarters. A measure of their success is that they've recently clocked up 70,000 flying hours. It's a vital job, but for Heather, worlds away from last year's rowing glory.
I joined the Army because I wanted the career and the lifestyle the Army offered. And at that time I hadn't made the British rowing team, so the reasons I joined the Army were still very pertinent even after the Olympics. So it was really important to me that I came out, and I didn't feel that I could carry on being in the Army if I hadn't kind of done the job as such, so it was important that I came and did the job. The nicest bit about coming back to work for me was I could go back into an environment where I'd worked with the soldiers beforehand and they knew me before I'd become an Olympian, so for them it was just Capt Stanning's coming back to work. And I mean, I've moved on from that unit now and I've been working with new people in the last couple of months, but I mean, when we're here on tour, soldiers, they don't care for celebrity, they care about whether you can do your job or not, and that was really important for me, that actually I'm judged on how good I am at my job and not how good I rowed last summer. So I think that's been really good for me, just to keep a perspective on life and actually what else there is going on in the world. Okay, nothing too abnormal other than the fact that delays on 2-3 and 2-4, mainly to do with tech issues.
Captain Stanning's next duty is to hand over to the day shift.
I'm just really glad that I've had something else to focus on. Kind of working out to the Olympics was really intense, kind of mentally working towards a goal, and once you achieve that, it's very easy to kind of think, goodness, what's next, and have kind of emptiness almost. So I was very fortunate that I had something else that I kind of wanted to achieve and do, and now my mind is kind of starting to think towards Rio and actually wanting to defend my title. I might have made that job a little bit harder by having a year out, so that's going to definitely keep me motivated for the next few years.
You're looking for some butter, Mum?
Marmalade, a strawberry jam in there somewhere. Ah. Normally once I've kind of finished with work, if I haven't had breakfast already, I'll make sure I grab something to eat. And we get porridge up here at breakfast time, so I tend to have that every day, and that's not really bad. It depends what you put in it. I probably put far too much syrup in. My sister-in-law's been really good at sending me kind of dried fruit as well, which is quite good to have in porridge. But yeah, if you speak to any of the soldiers, they'll tell you I've got the worst diet ever because I snack a lot. We seem to have a diet ever because mini cheddars and Rice Krispie squares out here, so I'm not sure why that is. Polos as well recently, we've had a lot of polos. But yeah, I think when I'm bored I just like to snack.
When work is done, Heather spends much of her time in the gym.
We've got brilliant gym facilities here, really, for where we are. And all I really need is a rowing machine, a spinning bike and some free weights, and I can do most things, so just to keep me generally fit. The bit I've missed is being on the water, and a couple of guys have joked about filling up some of these ditches with water and getting me to row up and down. Not quite the same, but I mean, yeah, I've been able to keep up with land fitness to a degree. It's not the same level that I was before, but if I can go back to the UK still fit and healthy, then I'm going to try and get back into full-time training and see if I can pick up where I left off.
From time to time, Bastion does offer some competitive sporting opportunities. The Dancon March saw Heather smash the women's record for the 25k yomp by 15 minutes.
That was a terrible idea. That's me done for the day. Oh no, work in 8 minutes.
In terms of her sporting career, Heather believes her Afghan year out from rowing won't be detrimental to her prospects.
Rowing-wise, because the Olympics is our main focus in the sport, so we work on a 4-year cycle, and you can't in the sports level we were at last year for 4 years. So the first year of the Olympiad's always going to be training is a bit lower intensity, just because your body needs time to adjust, and so it's having that kind of mental break from it, which I think I've really benefited from, and also I suppose my body's had a bit of a physical break. So I think people appreciate that, and it's not uncommon for people to have a year out. What they do with that year is different. Some people go and do PGCEs and teach, others go to universities and coach, and I've come back to work with the Army and come to Afghanistan.
Action!
Heather Stanning loves her dual passions of rowing and the Army, believing the latter helps her stay grounded and perform better on the water. But there's one side effect of her success she's not all that keen on.
If I'm perfectly honest, I'm not really one who likes to be in front of the camera too much. So, but at the same time, it's nice to know that there's obviously people who care about what we did last summer. So, and there is the interest. So that's nice, because you realise that what you do, people have an interest in. So, kind of appreciate it from that point of view. But I don't think I'm going to be making a living from being in front of the camera either.
Back on Thorney Island, the day's ceremonials firmly drew a line under the Afghan experience, an important marker of recognition for everyone's work. So Heather, the parade, how important was that, and what's it like being back here now? So different, isn't it?
It is very different, very green. No, it was brilliant. The parade is just a really good way of just kind of making closure of the whole kind of last 6-7 months. It's pretty much been over a year for a lot of the families, because with all the pre-deployment training, a lot of the guys have been away an awful lot. So this is us now home. This is the end of that event, really, and now kind of looking forward to the future. And yeah, 2-1 Battery have got quite an exciting future ahead of them.
And for you, Heather, it's very much a time to do your core other job, which is getting back into the rowing.
Yeah, that's the plan. I'm going to try and get back into a boat in the next couple of weeks, and hopefully by the end of the year be full-time training again. Obviously looking forward to Rio long term, but I need to be racing next summer. What boat that's in, I'm not sure at the moment. I need to get back into the squad before I worry about which boat I'm in, I think.
That's it, perfect.
Media interviews and photo calls done, it's back to the water for Heather Stanning, safe in the knowledge that she's done her bit in Afghanistan. Tim Cooper, Forces News, Thorney Island.